Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of the Rush podcast. Today we're really lucky to have Vasco Ribeiro with us, former junior world champion, 5 times national champion, and by many regarded as the most talented Portuguese surfer of all time. Have I missed anything?
No, I think you're good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming through. So I guess something that's extremely interesting with you is that you've been at the pinnacle of this sport, right? Like traveling all over the world, competing with the world's best, being part of that Portuguese golden generation of surfing. I'd love to hear a little bit about, how you came up, how you came into the sport, and those early years of getting that first sponsorship deal, and basically where everything started for you.
Yeah, for listening to you speaking right now, it feels like it's another life.
Yeah.
It feels like it was someone else that did all that, just because with so many history and so many things happen along the way. But yeah, I had a full experience. It's just to have the chance to actually work with this and making money out of this and experience traveling all around the world, being with the best. All the titles, of course, it's nice, but when you look back, I think it's mostly the experience that you had more than the titles.
Right.
And yeah, the first sponsorships when I was, I think I was 11 or 12. The first.
And back then, sponsorship deals were a lot more impressive than they are today, right?
Yeah, were a lot more impressive. And I remember that I started surfing really young. I was 6, 7 with my father because my father used to surf. Well, he still surfs a little bit, not all the time.
Also to a competitive level?
No, just a full longboard.
Okay.
And yeah, so I started with him, and my parents have a restaurant in Praia da Poça, so I was always there. So the ocean and the beach was my go-to, and yeah, so everything kind of started. Surfing a little bit more, being in the water with my father, and then the first comps, I was 9, was the under 10.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember it was in São Torpes, in Sines, and I won that.
Your very first one?
My very first one I won, so obviously I was like, fuck,
You're like, okay,
I like this, I like this, I won this one, so I thought I was going to win everything, and every single comp, and I think that was funny because mostly all the comps that I did when I was really young, I basically won all of them, especially in Portugal. So it went quite fast, just to be the guy that was surfing with my father in front of the restaurant, to actually start going to trips and Maldives and Australia and sponsors. Everything kind of came really quick.
At 9 years old?
Not 9, but like 11, 12, 13. And I think the first time I went to the Maldives with my coaches, I think I was 11 or 12. And then the first time I went to Hawaii, I was 12 or 13. And then, because I think there was a lot more money back then, and I was good at it. I was really good, and I had the results and the sponsors and all the help. My father's always helped me a lot, my parents, and they always supported me.
Which seems to be a consistent thing in the surf world, right? If you're going to make it, you have to have that support. Mostly it seems from your parents because it's the most obvious, but being able to travel, being able to have the kind of comfort level to get to all these competitions and trainings.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have all that support because surfing, it's really just yourself. You can have a coach, you can have a physio and a trainer, but it's a very individual sport. It's only you, and sometimes if you have that support with your parents and the coach and whatever you have in your life, no matter who, it makes a lot easier because it's just every time you go, you know what you want to do and you feel like home because they're there with you or they support. So everything kind of goes in the same direction. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very important.
And how is it mentally, like being a young kid and suddenly having this stardom, right? From a young age, traveling the world, competing, winning competitions, getting sponsorship deals. Was it a tough transition to make?
Looking back then, I think I wasn't really paying attention to all that because everything came so natural that I think in my mind, I thought it was just a natural thing to happen, you know, to have the ability to go and surf these waves and to travel. And
It's like all you knew in a
I
way,
was like,
right?
this is all I knew, so for me it was normal.
This is what life is like for
I
everyone,
was
right?
like, fuck, everyone must be like this. So I didn't really give the credits, or I was not really grateful, you know. I think everything came so easy that I didn't really pay attention to all the little things and the good things in life. I was like, okay, so this is it. This is my normal. This is what I know.
Yeah.
And then later I understood, you know, how lucky I was back then.
When the adult brain kicks
When
in,
the
and the
adult
doubts
brain
and the
everything.
confusion. And
Where when you are young, you have no responsibility, nothing. I have the money, the results, everything, and all that came against me because, you know, at some point when you transition from the junior world to the seniors, everything kind of came against me because I had such a successful junior career.
Mhm.
Everything was so easy, all the results, the money,
Was there any
everything.
when you got your first paycheck as a kid? Did you like? Was there some stupid shit you did? Did you buy some like something ridiculous or?
No, I did that when I was like 18. I bought my car, and then I always loved cars, so I spent a little bit of money in cars, and I think that's really stupid.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, no, because all the money I had, I spent a lot in parties when I was like 16, 17.
Mhm.
Looking back, that was really stupid, but those are memories that I have, you know, spending with my friends and paying dinner to everyone, because I was 16 and I already...
I'm in, boys. I'm
You know,
in. That's it.
I had way more money back then than I have now. I'm
That's
30 years,
crazy.
so looking, I was like, wow. But I think those are memories that I have with me, and I will carry it with them because it was special, you know. It was. I just wish I had done some things differently, you know, and just to have a bit more knowledge about how to take care of the money and all that, because I didn't know. My parents didn't know either, so they didn't.
And you don't have that kind of guidance, like the brands.
didn't.
The brands don't like. No.
At the time, no. At the time, the brands had so much money; they just give money to everyone.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think. Well, for me, they never really advised me to do anything. They will just go and give you these paychecks, and it's like, okay, do whatever you want.
It's kind of like we see in other sports, right?
A little bit.
These kids blowing up, getting crazy,
And
not managing it well.
I didn't manage. I just spent. I spent everything. You know, I was like, fuck, this is just gonna stay forever. So I'll just get 10 euros, spend 20 euros.
Right.
I always spent more than I had. Always.
I'm the shit now. This is never gonna
Yeah,
end.
I can do this, but I didn't know. I didn't really care,
Uh-huh.
you know, because it was so. For me, fuck, I was like, okay, this is it. This is my life. I didn't care.
But I guess like
Money
you're
or
saying,
this,
like you're saying with the experiences, right?
Yeah.
That's what we end this life with. That's what we collect. And I guess like living the lifestyle of a top world class athlete,
Yeah.
it's part of the game, right? It's part of enjoying it and,
Yeah.
and making the most of that. And tell me, you mentioned like the transition from the juniors where you were just cleaning up, winning everything, the world title you had, which I'd love to hear about as well. How was that transition of going into kind of like the big boys leagues and the seniors for you?
I think that's the part where everything kind of went real, you know, because maybe the junior career was a bit like a dream. Everything was so nice and no responsibility, nothing. Everything just. I used to train a lot, of course, but I didn't train like maybe the other guys, not as much, just because everything became so natural that I was like, okay, I don't really need to make so much effort.
Like for you, it was more natural
So I
talent
was like,
taking you.
fuck,
through
I'm
the-
really talented, so that's it, it's enough. And
Yeah.
I used to remember my parents and my coaches, everyone saying, it's not enough, it's never going to be enough. But in my mind, I didn't have the experience. I was like, okay.
And you had nothing to tell you otherwise, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, why are you saying this if I keep winning?
Yeah.
And I won the world title and the European title and everything. And so everything was like, okay, this is it. You finished the junior career. I won the world junior champ. So the year after, the normal thing was for me to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I knew that, but I was always scared. I was always scared of that commitment, you know, of that making sure it was real. You know,
Like the real
because-
test.
Like the real test.
Yeah.
And now I can look back and I can say that I never really tried because I was always scared.
You think?
So
Yeah.
I think so.
And it was actually the fear that.
I was always very scared and feared, so that's why I never really committed and I never really trained as much. And then I started to have all this fear and all these insecurities because I had all these expectations from everyone and from myself. And you are the best guy, or you're gonna win, you're gonna do this. But I didn't feel that way. So all this came into me because I didn't train, I didn't do all these things, and that's why it went so dark after.
Really?
Because I remember I was the best when I was 19, and then I was just someone else. I was just another guy there compared to the other ones, and
Right.
and to deal with that was super hard.
And what, like you said, it went dark. What did that look like? I mean, you know, go in as much detail as you want to share, but
It was dark just because my mind went dark.
Mhm.
You know, because before I was happy doing this, I had all these goals and everything came.
like you were
to
loose.
me. I was
carefree.
loose. I was doing all that, and then when I started doing all the QSs for real and doing that, and losing a lot, and then dealing with all these feelings that I had that I didn't know them because
It's new to you,
it was-
right?
It was new to me, and it was scary. It was very scary because it's always hard to deal with all these frustrations and everything, and then it's like, because in competition it's like if you win you're the best, if you lose it's just
You're just
nothing.
another guy.
It's just another guy,
Yeah.
and that's super hard to deal. You have to be really and very expert in the emotional part, because you don't really know how to deal with all these things, you know, and you have to find the balance between, okay, you win, it's all good, you're happy for a little bit, but then the day after you go back to training, and then you lose, you can be sad and you can cry, whatever, but then you have to go as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was always up and down all the time.
Right.
Every time I'm winning, I'm like, yeah, I'm the best, and I would just fucking go, whatever. And then if I lose, I would cry and say if I'm the worst and I want to give up and all that. So it went like this for so many years.
Did you have moments where you were like, "Fuck this"?
I
wanna do
didn't
it"?
want to surf anymore. Right?
Yeah.
At some point, I didn't want to surf. I didn't want to compete.
Mhm.
But that was the only thing I knew how to do at the time, and the truth was, if I was still doing that, the sponsors, I still had sponsors,
Right.
and I still had people paying me to actually do that, but I didn't want to because I was tired of all that, you know, of all the frustrations and not actually making the tour. But then I can look back and I can say I didn't really try, you know, I never really tried and do a whole here very consistent and doing all these without, no matter the results, just being consistent.
Like every single
Every
element
single-
of being
I never did
a
it.
top surfer.
I never did it. I can say that. And that's something that hurts me now because it's like I had all these opportunities that I just wasted because I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of the commitment of failing.
Fear of doing the absolute best, ultimate, every step right,
Yeah.
and then it not happening. Like, if you don't do that, you always have the excuse of,
I always had the
it's because I
excuse,
didn't
but I
train,
didn't
it's
try."
because I didn't do
Exactly.
the nutritional side or whatever.
And it's funny because I can look back now, like because I had to stop and all that, and now I can look back and really acknowledge that, and because if I had to do everything full 100% consistent and I failed, it would hurt so much more.
For sure.
In my head, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I understand
But
that.
now but it's the opposite, because at least I knew I did all that I could do to actually make my goal, and if I can't, okay, that's it. But I'm good with it.
Mhm.
But now I didn't try. I didn't
And we
really
don't
try,
have the
so
time
I don't
machine
know.
still, right? We can't go back in
We can't
time
go back.
and go to that moment where everything was in place.
Yeah, so, but that's it. It's experience, you know, and I'm
Sure.
happy with what I'm doing these days, and competition it was super nice, but at the same time it also destroyed me a lot. You know?
Mhm.
So
So tell us about that, what you're doing today, and like where you're sort of transitioning your career to, and how you see kind of the future of Vasco looking.
actually, it's been because I was suspended, so I couldn't compete. So I was kind of scared because, like I said, I started competing when I was 9, and until I was 27.
In your whole life.
That's it. I don't do anything else. So I was very scared because I didn't know what I could do outside surfing or even in surfing if I wanted to give lessons, if people wanted to have lessons with me. Because then all these insecurities of something that I never did come, you know?
Right.
So that's it. I started slowly doing some classes with my coaches and helping out the kids. I'm giving some private lessons here and there, you know, and I have some kids and some older guys as well. And it's funny because I started back surfing again and felt more in peace with everything and enjoying everything again. You know?
Connecting with the love and the passion of what you were doing.
Exactly. So it's been nice. And then me and my girlfriend, we wanted to talk to see if we could do something together, you know, and that's why we started to do all these trips.
Right, you have a camp coming up in Morocco.
I have a camp coming in Morocco, and she's helping me with everything because she's the one like back office doing all that part that I don't know how to do it, and it's been nice. It's like a team. We are a team. She's there.
It's a partnership, right?
and yeah, just to be able to share and my experience and to help others. That's something new. I didn't know that I made.
Well, I think there's a lot of things I didn't know about you before this conversation, and I think actually those experiences that you have and kind of I don't like to talk about regrets, but potential regrets or things that you would have done differently.
Yeah.
Other than, of course, the top level of surfing and competing all over the world and against the best. I think that's probably something that you're going to be able to feed onto these kids and help teach them about that complete other element of surfing, which is the dedication, the mental side, the commitment.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm very interested right now in doing, you know, is to understand a little bit more about myself and everything I did wrong and right, because I know I did some really nice things as well. But to acknowledge that, and then with all that, I can help out the kids.
Right.
Kids or whatever, I don't care, you know, I can help out people. And to share it with my story and my experience and all that, and that's been super nice, because, you know, with surfing, competitive surfing, it's everything, it's so selfish, it's only for you.
Right.
If I know one thing, I'm not going to tell you, because if I tell you this thing, you can use against me in surfing.
It's an advantage I'm going to give you.
So it's like, okay, I keep everything to myself, I don't share nothing. And
it must be crazy hard, right? Mentally speaking.
So mentally it's really hard. So when I switch the papers now and I'm like, okay, now I'm the coach and I'm helping these kids and I'm sharing it and you feel like you can actually help them.
A feeling of liberation, right? It takes a weight off the shoulders.
And it takes all the weight off my shoulders and it makes me happy.
And it's actually an ability to turn the potentially negative experiences into something really positive and a secret weapon, right?
Yeah. And that's why I feel more in peace with surfing, you know, because I managed to get a life without the competitive surfing, and that's something that I didn't know I could do it, because that's it. I only knew how to make it and do this and that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had all these up and downs, because all my life depended on the competitive side. Mm-hmm. So if I win, I'm happy. If I lose, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I didn't have my life. I had nothing.
You're so dependent on the results side, right?
I was only in Vasco Ribeiro with the titles and all that.
Yeah.
That means a lot, but they don't mean shit as well.
For sure. And it's actually something that comes up a lot, you know, speaking to all the different guys that we have on the platform, of that balance. You know, surfing is such a passion sport, and it's not just a sport, right? It's completely different to so many other sports, because it's a lifestyle, it's a connection, it's therapy for lots of us, right, in our mind, and wanting to make a career of it and having kind of limited options, right? Like if you're going down the competitive career, you're losing a lot of that soul.
Yeah.
If you want to go down another one, it's maybe giving up on the dream and putting that aside of, I'm not going to be a competitor, and that kind of hurts. And I think striking that balance is an incredibly difficult thing.
It's super difficult, and I think that's where I am in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly trying to find a good balance between surfing, my personal life, my family, my daughters, my girlfriend, you know, and put everything on a balance, and it's like, okay, when I'm there, you know.
Which you haven't had the privilege to do, right, up till now. Be a person.
Be a person, you know, and be someone, be Vasco, just Vasco.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. I'm really enjoying to have that space a little bit for myself and time, to have time to to have a weekend away with her and just turn off a little bit of surfing and classes and whatever.
Feed your soul, feed the other elements of what makes you
makes sense.
Wake up in the morning with a smile, right?
Yeah. So that's it. That's a little bit where I am in my life right now, is trying to find a balance between everything. And sometimes I'm doing okay, sometimes I do it bad, that's it. Everyone makes mistakes and you learn.
But when you're not under the microscope of results all the time, it's acceptable.
It's super nice.
To make
you can tell it's super nice. And like you were saying, like sometimes you have to choose if you want to do the competitive side and don't get to know all the other part of surfing, of helping out the people and knowing there's way, because when I used to compete, for me there was only the guys that knew how to surf were the guys that competed. Everyone else I didn't care. For me they're cooks.
Right.
So for me they didn't really count. I was like this.
It's black and white.
I was black and white. It's like, okay, you know how to surf? No, you don't. So you don't count.
And now you're seeing.
And now it's like, I don't care. I just want to be in the water with the people, and I have people now that I train or I give the private lessons. Like for them, sometimes it's just therapy. They're there with me in the water and just enjoying it, and then I can realize how important it is to be there in the moment.
You're seeing surfing not as numbers, but
it's
everything
like,
else that it gives.
It's just enjoying this little bit, and talking to people and understanding what they want to do. And not everyone has the goal to be a world champ, They just have the goal just to be there. And sometimes it's hard for me to accept that.
Are you hard on your students sometimes? Like,
I'm
hard
hard
to be the best?
I'm hard, and at the same time, I think sometimes I'm super soft, just because I went through so much that I don't want them to feel like
the pressure that you put on yourself.
So it's like that's a new balance as well, because the first thing that comes to mind is like, okay, I'm gonna tell him he's bad and he has to do this, but I'm like, no, I can't.
That's not the point here.
I don't want to put them in this position. They just want to have fun and enjoy. So sometimes I have to breathe out a little bit and think, okay, it was good.
So actually, my initial thought was Vasco probably wants to work with kids who want to be champions and train them to that competitive side. But do you find yourself being pulled to a different type of,
I don't know,
like customer, client?
That's it. I think I can actually adapt myself way more than I thought I could.
So that you're not repeating that same cycle, basically.
I really like to help the kids that want to compete. I think that's my strong part, because I went through all that and knowing and acknowledge all the waves and everything when you're competing. I think I'm really good at doing that, so I can help. But then having a bit more of custom service where it's like, okay, I can actually talk a little bit more about my life and experience, and that's going to help them. And just sometimes people just want to be with me in the water. And so I can tell them, this one,
more
do this, and mental.
In the personal side rather than the technical side.
So it's like, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning everything.
Feels like you're newborn.
I'm like newborn. That's why when you started, you say that I had world champ here or 5. It feels like it's a different person.
Fuck that.
I don't. When I think about myself, I don't think about that anymore. Like I don't care, because I'm way more happy these days than I was before.
I can see it. Feels like you feel free saying it. It makes you proud saying
it. It's not like I have to go this and that. I'm trying and all that pressure. There's pressure as well, and every day I have pressure, but it's nice. I'm learning.
It's amazing. And because we're quite short on time today, but before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Rush and what we're doing with our platform and how that kind of fits into what you're doing.
I think that's finding the balance. What you guys do is trying, because everyone has a different type of a service. Sometimes you want someone that's going to be hard on you, or finding the hardest waves and the biggest waves, and sometimes you just want someone, a friend, or someone just to be in the water or to go on the smaller waves. And that's why you guys have all these teams where it makes sense. Because sometimes, you want to go on a trip and you can find some people in the platform to go on the trip, or people from there, or you just want to go with your father or your mother or something, do a little trip, or having a private lesson, something. And I think that's really nice, because you guys can really customize a little bit the service. Because everyone is different, you know.
Right.
That's something I'm learning too. Everyone is different.
Everyone's different.
Everyone wants something different. It's not like everyone wants to be pro circle.
And that's the beauty of it, right? Like when someone comes, so guys, obviously you can book to do surf guiding, surf coaching with Vasco. And this is something that we see, like some people will come and they'll be like, I just want that one wave, that amazing wave, like take me there. Other people will want to be taken to empty spots where it's maybe less quality waves, but just them with the guide, like, and it's about
Finding
what surfing means to that individual person, right?
Exactly. Because it means it's different for everyone.
For sure.
That's why
and it's everyone's sport, right? And
Yeah.
and that's what it sounds like you've come to understand now. It's not just the best in the
I
world
just
who own the
understood
sport.
I just understood that because before I used to think who are the best surfer owns it.
Uh-huh.
The rest is nothing.
Yeah.
And now I can say that and I love it. I really thought that
Uh-huh.
I was this cocky guy.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got like I don't know, just this grounding to you now that is like.
I think it was experience. You
level.
know, that's what I had from my story and all those titles and all the dark places and all the good places. It's what I am these days. You know.
Yeah.
I learned.
Yeah. Vasco, I know you have to run to pick your girls up.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing. It's like it's a really good story to hear, and I think like a lot of people can get a lot of meaning from what you've said.
So
Yeah. So guys, make sure to check Vasco out, book your sessions with him. Vasco, all the best with Morocco.
thank you so much.
And yeah,
Good.
let's go.